We've known for a long time that the government was colluding with big tech companies to censor opinions they did not like. This is a massive story breaking. The Wall Street Journal reports judge orders Biden officials to limit contact with social media companies. Ruling says Biden administration policing of social media likely violated the First Amendment. Now, that's the gist of the news. And we know that that the executive branch was in contact with these social media companies to the point where they were, yes, violating your First Amendment right. They called it mis and disinformation. But who is the government to decide what information is true or not? Quite literally, the purpose of the First Amendment. I want to show you this tweet first. It's from Paul D. Thacker. He says, the White House claims they did not pressure social media companies to censor. After Facebook refused to censor some accounts, White House official Rob Flaherty emailed, quote, "Are you guys effing serious? I want an answer on what happened here, and I want it today." Amazing. The Office of Digital Strategy is in amazing hands. I'm over the moon, says Rob Flaherty, that Christian and Patrick are joining the White House and that Terica is getting promoted. Three of the best, smartest, and kindest in the biz. Truly incredible. I would like to show you how CNN framed this tremendous court ruling, which quite literally says, yeah, they're doing it and they have to stop. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone's favorite CNN. Oh, I'm sorry. I always do that. You know it. You know, I'm always going to have the incorrect audio. Here we go.
But this judge, Trump appointed judge, but this judge was confirmed 98-0 by the Senate. Just reading the words in this injunction, a, quote, massive effort by the defendants to suppress speech based on content. Those are the judge's words, calling the present case, quote, arguably involves the most massive attack against free speech in the United States history, Ellie.
Yeah. It's a dramatic decision by this judge. If you read through it, he's citing to literature and George Washington and Ben Franklin. Here's what really...
he's citing the founding fathers. Heavens.
Is astonishing to me. This is a conservative ideology that clearly comes through in this decision. It's a conservative political ideology, right? We saw some of the quotes questioning vaccines, questioning masks, conservative talking points. But the ruling itself is the opposite of judicial conservatism. This is one of the most aggressive, far-reaching rulings you'll ever see. What this judge is purporting to do is to micromanage, really, the day-to-day interactions between essentially the entire executive branch, all these agencies that are listed as defendants, and the leading social media companies. And in the actual temporary injunction, the judge basically says, you're not allowed, administration, to talk to these social media companies about any protected free speech except for cybersecurity threats, national security threats, criminal threats. But where's the line?
Where's the line? That's it. No, seriously. He says you can't talk to social media companies about free speech issues unless it's national security, cybersecurity. Where's the line? Bro, you literally just described the line. That's it. We recognize that there is free speech. We also recognize that there are limits. We really do. I'm not a 2A. I should say I'm very close to being a 2A absolutist, but I'm not a 1A absolutist. I'm not a complete 2A absolutist, and I'll explain. I'm not an absolutist on any of the amendments because there has to be judicial interpretation. What is the purpose of the First Amendment? It protects your right to speech, assembly, religion, press, and a redress of grievances. It's a lot in there. Basically, our right to dissent. And that's why it's the first. The First Amendment was actually going to be something different way back in the day, but ultimately they settled on this one. The purpose is your ability to express your political views to bring about change, not to advocate for violence and crime and things of that nature. And we've actually improved the right of free speech over some time. It used to be that you couldn't be obscene. Sure, we had these rights in the Constitution, but people didn't really uphold them. But now we do so more. We do so much more. As for 2A, my issue is this. It's not an absolute right to always own a gun. It is pending due process. And this was a change for me because for a period I was probably more absolutist and people said, you can lose rights through due process. And I said, okay. So I guess my view is for right now, I don't think people should have nukes or anything like that, but you got to amend the Constitution. Call it an oversight on the founding fathers' part. They said you could own weapons and you keep and bear arms. And there were people who owned private warships, and there are private companies that own bombers and jets and drones and all that stuff, even to this day. So, yeah, you can privately own these things. It's a constitutionally protected right. Now, if you commit a crime and we say, here's the limit, I don't completely disagree with that. It's due process. I do want to point this out, though. The government can make something nonsensical a crime. Then when you break the law, they say, you're a felon. You can't have a gun anymore. And that is not legitimate. But I do think there are reasonable things to be done. You know, I was watching just last night. We went and saw Sound of Freedom. I am very much against the death penalty. And I think to the words of Ben Franklin and to Blackstone's formulation, he said it's better that 10 guilty persons escape than one innocent suffer. Benjamin Franklin said it's better that 100 guilty persons escape than one innocent suffer. You know what I thought to myself as I watched that movie last night? I'm not sure the founding fathers considered child trafficking when they said that, because there is a very, very, very difficult question to be asked. We want to stop evil, and this is some of the most depraved evil. And as I'm watching this film, I thought to myself, should we have a very, very strict police force, law enforcement apparatus to stop these people? And I'm like, absolutely, we have to. And then I was thinking about, you know, the death penalty and my fears of the death penalty. And the issue is this. Some people forfeit their right to life through serious crimes against humanity. That's what human societies all over the world throughout history have determined. That is to say, we don't want violence. We don't want people to lose their lives. But some people, when they cross that line and are taking lives and harming people, we say it's what must be done. I think that lethal force typically should only be applied in defense. There's probably some very extreme circumstances, so nothing's absolute, but we don't want to see that stuff. We don't. So I oppose the death penalty. But watching that movie last night, you know, people have said to me, yeah, but crimes against children, you know, and I'm like, you're right. These evil, evil people, the crimes they've committed against these children. But my fear is the government killing the wrong person, taking the life. And that's I don't know if how do you deal with that? But when confronted with that question of people who traffic children and our need to stop such a depraved evil by any means necessary, do we really allow 10 child abusers to escape to save one? Oh boy, that's a tough question. You know, in the end, I still believe in that vision of letting the guilty escape to prevent the innocent suffering, because if the innocent suffer, then people lose faith in the system outright. But boy, is it a tough question. And I said, I don't know if the founding fathers considered all that stuff. But back to the question at hand as it pertains to free speech. This one's actually relatively simple. You're not supposed to incite rebellion against the U.S. government. That's not free speech. Interestingly, right? It's seditious conspiracy. Where is the line between you saying you want a revolution in this country, being free speech, and you actually organizing a rally to advocate for revolution? Which one, right? So there is a line. My point is this: nothing is absolute. If you engage in an effort that involves physical action to subvert the government, okay, now you're in seditious conspiracy territory. If you are just speaking about the need for it, could that be considered incitement to sedition? There are challenging questions, and it's not so easy to say whether or not some speech is protected free speech or whether it is seditious or in violation of the law. Here I can tell you this. What the U.S. government had been doing clearly violated the First Amendment, because we're talking about people going online and posting their political opinions. We're talking about people saying the name of a guy. I'm not even sure I can say this guy's name to this day. They were taking down videos and posts because people said a name. That is a violation of the First Amendment. Outright, no question. No question. Actually, I'm wondering if we still have grounds to sue, considering it's been several years since they took down one of my videos. Maybe I should pursue that. A 155-page ruling issued Tuesday by U.S. District Judge Terry Doty of Louisiana barred Juarez officials and multiple federal agencies from contacting social media companies with the purpose of suppressing political views and other speech normally protected from government censorship. How did it even happen in the first place? Erosion, I guess. Cultural decay. The judge's injunction came in a lawsuit led by Republican attorneys general of Missouri and Louisiana, who alleged that the Biden administration fostered a sprawling federal censorship enterprise in its effort to stamp out what it viewed as rampant disinformation circulating on social media. The government, the lawsuit claimed, pressured social media platforms to scrub away disfavored views about COVID-19 health policies, the origins of the pandemic, the Hunter Biden laptop story, election security, and other divisive topics. Even Joe Rogan pointed out that the laptop suppression was election interference. I wonder. Well, it's good news for now, and it's a historical moment. I wonder what the future has in store. What will the future say about us today when they write these stories? I guess it depends on who wins. Will they say that we pushed back against the absolute corruption, abject evil of the Democratic establishment and neoconservative agendas? Or if we lose, will they say that this was a backstep, but ultimately they won the fight against disinformation? I got to be honest, I think we're winning. The Bud Light story and all the others prove that point, as does this. They're losing. Evil people are losing. You love to see it. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.